And it's not about MS anymore. It's about just working out in this community and being a part of the community. And you can go there, you come to MS Forward and everybody gets it. You can talk to everybody about it. But that's, I think, my spin, if you will, on my disease has changed to a more positive thing, just because I've been able to be a part of MS Forward Gym. And it's not just a gym, I just can't say it enough, it's a community. It's really a community.
It's murder, go crazy, berserker.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jewel in the Desert. It's Las Vegas Motor Speedway for round 3 of the SimPossible Racing League B-Car Series, and I'm Peter Short, and joining me in the booth once again is my partner in crime, Cameron Rich, and of course managing cameras behind the scenes is Carlos Acosta. We got a 1.5 mile racetrack that races quite a bit differently than last week's race. And Cameron, that track temperature is only 76 degrees Fahrenheit. I think there's going to be a lot of grip out there tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And this track, you know, at first glance, it's quite similar to the last week's track at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, but it's also hugely different. For one, the track surface is a lot newer. This track was paved in 2007, so make it exactly 10 years newer. But it is quite bumpy and it doesn't have as much grip as you would think. This track actually has worn pretty well, especially in turns 3 and 4. That end of the speedway gets very slick, very quick, but definitely going to be a bit different than last week. You know, just not going to see the amount of sliding around that we did last with the worn track surface in Atlanta, but it's not the grippiest either, so pretty cool to see what these guys do today.
Yeah, to categorize the last week's race at Atlanta, your rear tires wore faster than your front tires, so you got loose. Here at Las Vegas, it tends to wear your right front a lot, so you tend to get tight on the long runs here, and a little bit of push loose is pretty common at Vegas, so we'll watch that as this race goes on tonight. And riding on board there with Chris Roberge. Roberge is having a pretty good night so far. He's currently just inside the top 10 here in practice, in 9th position, but just before we pan to Chris Roberge, we were focusing on Dave Wilson, who is currently leading the points after 2 races so far this year. Tanner Sharp just 4 points behind the number 20 machine of Dave Wilson. AJ Digby 3 points behind Tanner. Chris Roberge currently tied on points with Digby for 3rd, as is Kyle Zimmer. So a 3-way tie for 3rd in points. Kevin Cochran's at 6th. Tied on points with Brian Lowhead. Capers 8th, Nate Catilla is 9th, and Tom Johnson rounds out your top 10 in points. Here we have about 4 minutes left in practice, Cameron. And what have you seen so far out of this practice?
Well, one of the facets of this track that it makes it so popular among drivers, and myself included, is this is probably one of the best multi-gear tracks on the surface. Really, a lot of tracks on iRacing, you can run the high line on one end of the speedway, but on the other, it just can't happen, but here really you can do it in turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I think we're going to see that tonight. Here you see on board, look at Doug McCollum at 33 running that high line. That's 1 and 2 right there. I think we're going to see that tonight. That top line in 1 and 2 has a lot of grip, and if you can run it right, you can gain a lot of speed through there. And of course, here through 3 and 4, I think you're going to see most cars run that middle-ish to high biased line. So it's going to be really cool. I love racing this track for that reason. The dynamic surface absolutely makes this track wonderful to race on.
Well, let's see if we can bring Dave Wilson here for a pre-race interview. Dave Wilson, Peter Short up here in the 3-wide TV booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yes, I do.
All right, well, we see the sun going down and track temperatures dropping. It looks like grip levels are up because I think speeds keep getting faster here. How are these cars handling, and what is your fuel window looking like?
The cars are definitely grippy right now, but with the grip comes a lot of tightness, so it is quite tight in the corners whenever you do try to take it all out. The fuel window I haven't really checked too much yet. I believe it's probably going to be around 40 to 50 laps, I'm guessing. But my main goal is just going to be try to run at the tires, see how long they go, and hopefully we get some good green flag runs tonight.
Yeah, it is a 200-mile event here tonight. So what is your strategy? 200 miles is a pretty long race. So what's your strategy to get to the end tonight?
It's going to be trying not to overdrive the car, really just try to keep the tires in shape as much as I can and just try to make them last as long as they can as well, so I can hopefully get some grip in the later runs.
All right, well that, ladies and gentlemen, Dave Wilson, winner last week at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, looking for back-to-back wins tonight. Dave, we wish you best of luck in this one.
Yep, thank you.
All right, Cameron, well, he kind of said it, keeping your nose clean and getting to the end of a 200-mile race is pretty important, and it'll be interesting to see if we do get some green flag pit stops, because you and I know pitting here at Las Vegas is such an important thing. And in fact, we've seen some drivers in the past make 4 pit stops work over 3 pit stops in a race of a fairly similar length, just because that tire wear that we were talking about being such an important factor on the speed of these drivers. So you see the number 4 there of Nate Catilla going through the grass. Nice long slide through the grass, trying to hold on to it. Looks like he is going to save that number 4 machine. But yeah, tire is really important here.
Yeah, they are very important here. Like I was kind of saying earlier, the surface is, you know, not the oldest, but it's also not the newest either. And just the way this track is in the desert and it gets those extreme temperatures, it has worn out pretty well. So the tires are very important here. And pit stops, like you said, are going to be very important. Actually, this is one of the hardest pit roads to get onto, just because it's such a sharp angle from the racetrack to the entrance of pit road. I think we'll see it here on 80 of Kevin Cochran. He looks like he's coming to pit road, but yeah, that entry to pit road's so sharp, and it's so easy to overshoot it, to overshoot your speed lines and just get a penalty. And you don't want that, because these races do tend to have a green flag feeling to them. We probably will see a lot of green running tonight.
Absolutely. Well, the practice session has come to an end. AJ Digby with a 29.586 was fastest in practice. Dave Wilson second, Kyle Zimmer third, Tanner Sharp fourth, and Dominic Lee rounds out the top 5 with Nate Catilla, Matthew Lesniewski, Tom Johnson, Tim Masters, and Chris Roberge running out the top 10. So definitely keep an eye on AJ Digby. We've seen him oh so close to getting a win in the past few weeks here in the SimPossible Racing League, but he hasn't quite been able to get that win. He will be the first car off pit road here as we have group qualifying. We'll go for a lap with Digby, and you know, Digby's just trying to get all parts of the race together to see if he can get another win here in the SimPossible Racing League.
Yeah, we've seen him be so successful last week in the truck race at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and last week at the Atlanta race, the V-Car Series. And just, you know, like, he can't pull the whole race together. He's always fast, very smart to the race. He qualifies well, but just can't string together the finish. And You know, I think he will get it. He's a very fast driver, very talented, and he will figure it out. I think he's going to be one of the players to look out for in this entire B car campaign, the full Shadow schedule, the Xfinity Series, whole 33 races. So it's going to be an endurance test for all of these drivers, definitely.
Well, AJ Digby hits the stripe for the first time. He will be the first car to take time. Currently sitting top of the board, we've had the first 6 cars take time. Digby on top over Dave Wilson and Tim Masters so far, but we still have about 3.5 minutes left. Nate Catilla, great lap by that number 4 machine. He's going to jump all the way up into the 2nd position currently as you're riding on board with the number 24 of Matthew Lesniewski, a newcomer to the league. Great to see him this past Monday night at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in the MS Ford Truck Series as he comes out at turn number 4 trying to get around the 4 of Nate Catilla. Catilla still currently sitting 3rd on the board. Dave Wilson did jump up to 2nd. Kyle Zimmer now jumps up to 7th. But one thing to note, Cameron, is this is a huge field here tonight.
Yeah, I do believe this is our biggest field ever in the SimPossible Racing League. I believe, what, 19, 20 cars? 19 cars? Yeah, it's a great field. Great to see that this week. And I you know, of course, want to see that it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. You know, good to see this league growing and expanding every week. It's really cool that see all these guys out here tonight.
We're right on board with the number 2 of Dominic Lee. He's actually one of those fairly new drivers to the league. He's just coming out of turn number 4 right now. He's a very fast driver. We've seen him near the top in just about all the sessions and races he's run. Currently, he's sitting 11th on the board with a 29.837. Not quite sure if he'll be too excited with that lap time, but we'll see if he's able to pick it up on lap number 2. Here's the number 56, Tom Johnson, looking a little bit further back. That's the 99 of Johnny Berardi. Berardi looking for a good finish here tonight at Las Vegas. Wasn't quite able to find the speed at the end of the race at Atlanta, and so he's definitely looking for a good finish to bounce back from last week's event. But currently, AJ Digby, you know, we mentioned he hasn't quite been able to get the whole race together, but he's currently sitting on top of the board by about 1/10 of a second over Dave Wilson. So a pretty stellar lap by Digby. And as the sun has now come out on the circuit just a little bit, I'm thinking that probably some of that grip level will be diminished as the sun will just give a little bit of temperature to the track. There is the 3 of Tanner Sharp in that Nationwide Chevrolet. He's looking to jump up the board. He's currently sitting 5th. Dominic Lee is 4th. And Nate Catilla, great qualifying lap by him to currently be sitting 3rd on the board. There is AJ Digby. So Digby's going to take another stab here to see if he can improve his lap time. It'll be interesting to see if he can. He was the first car out in qualifying, Cameron, so he might have had the coldest track out there. So that might have given him a little bit more grip, a little bit of possibly a strategy call by Digby to go out as early as he did. But we'll see if he's able to improve his lap time here.
Yeah, actually, I was watching his lap, and he set his fast lap right as the sun came out, like, I think before the temperature actually increased, so, you know, I think there's just a lot of speed in that car. He, of course, he was fast in practice, got that gold-themed machine this week, very Las Vegas-esque, and that's going to disqualify his lap right there. He just got the wall, sparks everywhere, so that lap not going to count. But either way, qualifying is over, and Digby looks like he will have the pole by about 1/10 of a second exactly over Dave Wilson, our new 2nd place driver. He ran a 29.568 behind Digby's 29.467.
Well, let's just keep an eye on Kyle. No, well, I was just about to say let's keep an eye on Kyle Zimmer, but he hit the wall coming out of turn number 4, and that ruined his lap time. As you see that number 25 machine go through the grass. A couple of other drivers still out there taking time. As long as you got to the stripe before the checkered flag was thrown, your lap did count. But I didn't really see any improvement up and down the board. So I think that will just about do it here for qualifying. And a really good qualifying session it was. It was interesting to see that cloud cover and the effects that cloud cover had.
Yeah, and I don't know if we noticed it or not, but the track was almost dark at the very first part of qualifying. It looked like it was like nighttime just because of the cloud cover, but we do have your starting lineup for tonight. On the pole, we have the number 14 of AJ Digby and last week's winner, the 20 of Dave Wilson.
Starting on row number 2, the number 4 of Nate Catilla, and just beside him, the number 2 of Dominic Lee.
Row number 3, we have two cars that look absolutely identical, the number 3 of Tanner Sharp and the number 9 of Tim Masters.
Just behind the nationwide row is the number 25 of Kyle Zimmer and the number 33 of Doug McCollum.
Starting ninth, we have the 22 car of Daniel Hosser and the 24 Jeff Gordon-inspired machine of Matthew Lesniewski.
Starting on row number 6, the 56 of Tom Johnson and the number 98 of Chris Roberge.
Starting in 13th, we have the beautiful Haviline machine, the number 17 of Fernando Matos, and to his outside, the number 99 of Johnny Berardi.
On row number 8, we have the number 80 of Kevin Cochran and the number 90 of Travis Zunema.
Starting in 17th spot, we have the number 32 of Billy Wise, and to his outside, the number 13 of Alan Capers. And rounding out the field tonight, the perennial caboose, as I like to say, number 66 Brian Lowhead. Usually does not take a qualifying time, but do not think he will stay there very long.
Absolutely not. Well, the sun is setting here in the desert. It's going to be set for a beautiful race this evening. Currently set to about 4:16 in the sim. So that sun will be setting quite rapidly, and it's actually set to just about today's date. So I'm sure we'll see the sunset here over the next hour or so, because this race, for 200 laps, it will definitely take more than an hour. So all these drivers will have to settle in and get ready to go here. I'm sure that some of them have 200 miles, 133 laps. You know, I'm sure all these drivers have some butterflies in their stomach getting set to go green here at Vegas, because it's time to roll the dice to get the W.
Yeah, as a driver, you always have those butterflies before you start a race, especially a long one like this. But as soon as they go into turn 1, get through turns 1 and 2, everything should be all right. But one thing we do know is that pace car is making that hard left turn onto pit road and field in the hands of AJ Digby. These guys are starting to accelerate for the green flag, and it's out. AJ gets a very good restart. He's already gapped 20 by about a curling. And we are side by side into turn number 1, Peter.
Yeah, and AJ Digby is going to get the lead in front of Dave Wilson. The battle's really going to be right behind them, that battle for third. Actually, no, here comes Nate Catilla. He's got a little bit of rear end damage. And oh, contact! Nate Catilla has a little bit of net code, I think, and Dave Wilson's got it around up in the front. That 20, Nate Catilla's coming down the racetrack. The 25's involved, the 3's involved. Do you see the number 20 getting things righted? Oh, Johnny Berardi's going to go around just a little bit. There's the 25, Kyle Zimmer. But we already see Tanner Sharp smoking, and Cameron, I think that might have been a little bit of net code there that instigated. Oof. There you see Kyle Zimmer getting involved. But I think that might have been a little bit of net code there that instigated that accident.
Yeah, we'll see what happened on the replay. I didn't actually see it myself, but we see Nate Catilla and Dave Wilson. Oh, yeah, there was actually, it looked like they were wrecking in the back, and it kind of just, it wasn't really accordion because it started in the back, but it also happened at the front. So it looked like somebody got in the wall a little bit. But kind of a weird accident there, really.
Yeah, we'll watch this on a replay one more time. I think there was a little bit of daylight between that number 2 and that number 4, but the number 4 definitely went on a ride, and it's a tough break for him. Dave Wilson was able to get away with only a little bit of damage on that number 20 machine, so he might not have to take a fast repair. We'll wait and see. These drivers do have 4 fast repairs tonight, so as you know, this race goes on, they will use them as they see fit. Definitely kind of a strategy call of when and where to use those, because you don't want to run out of them too early in the race. So Dominic Lee is going to take a fast repair. Tanner Sharp's going to have to take one because his engine is smoking.
You know, Peter, I kind of saw something there that was a little bit odd. I saw some sparks coming out of that 20 car at the front there, and he didn't really hit anything. So it's like, you know, that was a really odd accident there. I'm not really sure what really caused it, but either way, everybody should be good. I don't think anybody had to take a tow. Get their cars fixed up and get off pit road here.
Yeah, I saw that too. I mean, Dave Wilson got pretty close to the wall, and I just wonder if there was something in the iRacing code, because he got so close to the wall, that might have instigated a little bit of net code of some of the cars around them and caused that wreck.
And one thing I'm noticing, Peter, Tanner is still sitting on pit road. So, did he forget to check his fast repair? Because I think he usually starts the race with it unchecked. He usually doesn't try to take one if he doesn't have to. And is it going to make him sit there and fix all that damage?
Well, that would be absolutely disastrous if that is the case, because that number 3 machine is sitting there and it's just bleeding times. He's now going to be a couple laps down as the field goes by. So definitely a tough break there for Tanner Sharp, driver number 3, coming into tonight's race only 4 points off the points lead. He's got 8 minutes required damage is what we're hearing. So he's going to have to wait for that 8 minutes to count all the way down before he can get back out there, and that's just a tough break.
Yeah, that effectively ends his race on lap 1, because 8 minutes here, even under caution, is going to be, you know, several laps, and he's already a couple down.
So we're going to get back to green flag racing here. In just a moment. The races will be in the hands of AJ Digby. New player up at the front, that's Johnny Berardi in number 99. He did not stop under this caution flag. In fact, your front 5 cars stayed out. Your first car that is out on track with fresh tires is Dominic Lee. But here they come. Pace car is off. The number 14 of AJ Digby here will hit the gas. And we'll be back underway here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Digby got a great start. Berardi's going to jump down, possibly in front of the number 80 of Cochran. Here comes Zudema. Zudema is... Oh, contact there between the 99 and the 80. Everyone stays going. Oh, that 99's just trying to save it. He finally did save it. Great job and great save as he comes back up the racetrack. Everyone's scattering. Oh, contact! Ryan Lowhead getting into the 99 there a little bit, but looks like they're able to keep going. We're still green. Man, lots of action, Cameron.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. That might have been just... It looks like the 99 just came down a little bit on whoever was below him. I didn't exactly see that, but I saw the 9 of Tim Masters actually got back him pretty hard, so let's hope that didn't destroy the radiator and make his engine temps skyrocket. But either way, at the front, AJ Digby has about a second lead already, so he's asserting his dominance on this field as of yet. But Dominic Lee, the first car with fresh tires, is second place, and probably going to run him down a little bit. I don't know, we'll see. Those fresh tires probably aren't going to be a huge advantage. Of course, AJ only had 2 corners on those tires at the most, so definitely going to have to see how that plays out. But do have some action here in the back. Actually, not anymore. We just single file instead of that.
Good old commentator's curse as you're just on the center of your screen, that bright purple number 20. That is Dave Wilson. Started there in the second position. He's trying to get around his teammate Chris Roberge. Roberge right in front of him. As we focus here on the number 90 of Travis Zunema. Good to see him back racing with us here tonight. Right behind him is Kyle Zimmer in that number 25. There is Kyle. Kind of able to get that number 25 repaired pretty quickly, and he's back out there now up in the 4th position. So currently we've seen Billy Wise. He started in 17th. He's now up to 6th position. So good start for him in that number 32. He does have some rear end damage. You can see it there on screen. He just got passed by Dave Wilson, so move Wilson up into 5th. in that number 20 Cadbury Dairy Milk Toyota. Definitely looking to head towards the front. There's a little bit of connection issues for Wilson at this point, but there's Roberge, his teammate. No battle for third position. Here comes the 25 of Kyle Zimmer underneath Zudema, and he's not quite able to make that pass, Cameron. Zudema running that higher line. Oof, Zudema, I thought he might push up into the wall, but he's able to stay off the wall, get a great run the backstretch, and like you were saying, Cameron, this track is multi-grooved.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of these drivers running higher in 3 and 4, but you saw that high line work pretty well in 1 and 2. Zudema able to hold off the 25. That line, very, very, very strong. You can get up right next to that wall if you want to. That's usually where I prefer to run myself, because it just, really because it looks cool, but yeah, you can get a lot of momentum up there, and it's, see that run he gets off, he's able to gap 25, about a whole car length and a half or so.
There was a little bit of contact there on the top of your screen between Billy Wise and Chris Roberge. They finally got it sorted out, but they kind of had a little bit of door banging down the backstretch as Roberge is trying to get around Billy Wise, and I think Roberge is going to clear him here as they go through the tri-oval, so move Roberge up into the 6th position, and look at Kevin Cochran right behind Billy Wise now in that number 80 machine, but they just kind of had a slight kiss coming through the backstretch right about here. As you ride on board with Roberge now, looking ahead at that number 32. No, excuse me, Kevin Cochran. Looking forward at Chris Roberge in front of Billy Wise. But we have 13 laps completed. No, 12 laps completed on lap number 13, excuse me. For all of you fans of the number 3 of Tanner Sharp, he's now 10 laps down and still sitting in his pit box. So that is just a massive blow to Tanner. I know he wants to get back out there on track once that crew finishes the repairs on that machine, and hopefully he can rejoin the race. But look at this battle. This is now a battle for the 4th position between the 25 and the number 20. And I think Dave Wilson here is trying to double up here and get 2 for the price of 1. As he's got around Zimmer, now he's trying to get around Zudema.
Yeah, that 20 car, of course, always fast, and he made his way through the field pretty quickly. I saw him riding that high side pretty early on. And just ahead, you see the number 2 of Dominic Lee has almost caught the 14 of Digby. He is running significantly faster than Digby, just a little bit every lap, about 2 tenths or so. And I think we're going to have a battle for the lead here. That 2 car is flying.
Yeah, you saw that the number 25 there of Kyle Zimmer decided to take a peek inside of Dave Wilson, and I think he's left himself kind of exposed because the number 90 of Zudema is able to get back by that number 25 machine. So some great racing there. We have someone off the pace there on the inside of the racetrack. That is Daniel Hosser in the number 22 machine, one of the newcomers to the league. He's currently sitting 1 lap down, and he's limping his way back to pit road. New race leader, the number 2, Dominic Lee, has gone around Digby. Digby's in the wall hard coming out of turn number 2. That is definitely going to hurt the right side of that number 14 machine. Here comes Dave Wilson. Let's see how this happened. This happened also quickly as Digby got into turn number 1 and 2. What happened here? Looks like Dominic Lee pulls in on them post so quickly. Going off into turns number 3 and 4 here. And just that number 2 just closed right. Ooh, I think Digby got tight coming out of turn number 4. Had to check up, and that opened the door for Dominic Lee. And Dominic Lee now at the front. He's got a 1.1 second lead over Dave Wilson. And AJ Digby, with all that right side damage, he's dropped off from Wilson quite a bit. I'm looking at lap times this last time by, and Wilson was about 4 tenths faster than Digby, and Digby now under fire from the 25 of Kyle Zimmer. Zimmer trying that high line around the number 14. I think Zimmer's going to take it here with that high line run.
Yeah, that 14 really has to be hurting with all that damage on the right side of the car. Of course, you can see it scraped up a little bit bent up too. Really, you don't want to mess up your aero here. This is a very aero-sensitive track, so I think he's going to be hoping for a caution to come out pretty soon. That car's going to be... of course, we saw it was tight. He got in the wall because of that, but it's going to be a little bit tighter now.
And looking at lap times between your top few drivers, Dave Wilson is actually a little bit faster than Dominic Lee, as you see the number 3 of Tanner Sharp finally able to get back out onto the track. Still a lot of damage on that machine. I expect him to probably come back around, come down pit road, and get that remaining damage repaired on that machine. Here is Zudema now going to work on the back of Digby's number 14. And I think Zudema is going to try to do the over-under here down the back stretch. Great move by that number 90 machine, and off into turn number 3 and 4. Move Zudema up to the 4th position. We just found out that we've been pronouncing his name wrong, and so my brain is having to put Zudema in the library where Zudema once was. So Travis, hopefully you can bear with us until we get this one right. Luckily we weren't too far off. But one driver I've been keeping an eye on is the number 4 of Nate Catilla. He's caught up to the back of Christopher Burge. And I've been watching his lap times. His lap times have actually been pretty good. You know, he qualified in the 3rd position. And over the last 5 laps, he's been faster than most of the drivers in front of him. Look, here he goes. Oh, reversion to the outside wall. Just a little bit of a tap. I don't see much damage on the right side of that number 98, but here comes Billy Wise to try and make that pass. Tanner Sharp finally able to make it out there on track in that number 3 machine. He's currently sitting 18 laps off the lead pace. But he does have fresher tires, so hopefully he can get one of those laps back the hard way. But man, oh man, that's an absolute heartbreak for Tanner Sharp, as he came into tonight sitting 2nd in points. Looking a little bit further back, there's the number 33, Doug McCollum, and the number 17 of Fernando Matos. McCollum making the pass for 13th on Matos that last lap. McCollum here running some pretty good lap times, actually. That last time by, McCollum ran a 30.88. There are not many drivers, no, excuse me, I had that incorrect. He ran a 31.166. There aren't many drivers still that are faster than that. So that number 33 machine is flying, and here he goes around the number 24, Matthew Lesniewski. So I think Doug McCollum's found some speed here on the long run, Cameron.
Yeah, and I think he was kind of just pacing himself early on the run, and probably has a little bit fresher tires now. Of course, you know, saving your tires is always a beneficial thing, but Lesniewski actually says, no, I'm not going to let you get that position that easily, and he's going to fight back on the outside on McCollum. But I think McCollum is just going to take it right here on the bottom. Yes, he does. And here we see at the front, Dominic Lee. That lead is shrinking a little bit. As you said, Peter, that 20 car is ever so much quicker than Dominic. So I think we're going to have a battle for the lead here pretty soon.
Yeah, those front 2 drivers, Dominic Lee and Dave Wilson. Dave Wilson has been averaging about a 1/10 of a second faster over the last 5 laps or so. So he's really been able to cut into that lead. I think that was the number 99 of, no, that's not the number 90. Yes, it is the number 99, Johnny Berardi. Right there, Dominic Lee had to check up for that number 99, and that's going to get the lead straight to Dave Wilson. So we were just talking about the battle for the race lead. Well, that battle is over just as it started, and now we have a new race leader once again. Dave Wilson started 2nd, and now will take the race lead.
Yeah,
now lead his first lap of the race.
Probably gonna be nice knowing that he didn't even have to fight for it, just kind of inherited it because of that issue with the lap car Ferrari, but he was a little bit quicker anyway. A little bit further back in the field, though, we have a really good battle between Chris Reberge and Billy Wise for, I believe that's the 9th position. They were about touching off turn number 2 there. Excuse me, that's 8th place right there. But yeah, like Tom Johnson in the 56, he's going to want to make it almost 3 wide here, but yeah, that's a pretty good run off turn number 4 on that low side of the 56 machine.
It seems like the number 32 and the number 98 just can't get away from each other at this present moment in time. As Johnson goes down, he hits the apron, contact, Chris Reberge gets sideways. Oh, he's going to turn it right up into the wall, and caution for, oh, hard hit there by, I think that might have been the 22, Daniel Hosser. It is a hard hit for those 2 cars, and oof. Oh, another hit. Brian Lowhead gets involved. The number 13 of Alan Capers was able to get through there. But, man, some hard licks there, Cameron. We'll watch this one on replay. I think Tom Johnson just put the apron going into the corner, shot him up the racetrack and into the side of the 98.
Yeah, and even if he didn't hit the apron, really, what we see so often with these cars at a track like this, where the high line is as good as it is, if you try to run that bottom, it just doesn't have as much grip, and you'll slide up. So yeah, definitely got on that white paint a little bit, just shot him off the track. Really, just kind of a product of this type of racing, but I think everybody did get away safely. Didn't have to take a tow, which is pretty good considering how hard those hits were. So that's good to see.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Hosser, there was no place to go in that number 22 machine. With the number 98 spinning down the racetrack. But here come your leaders on pit road, led by Dave Wilson. I'm sure Dominic Lee will be excited to get some 4 fresh tires under his Toyota. And Kyle Zimmer currently running 3rd. Everyone hitting their pit box. I think Kyle Zimmer overshot his pit box just a little bit in that number 25 machine. And so that might just affect his exit here. Oh, the number 9 of Tim Masters wasn't able to find his pit box either, but Dave Wilson and the 2 of Dominic Lee are down and away. Digby's going to be the 3rd driver off pit road, then the number 25, Kyle Zimmer. So that definitely did affect Kyle Zimmer just a little bit as he lost a spot on pit road. Travis Zudema, he's going to come out the 5th car off pit road. But definitely some really good action here at Las Vegas as we are just now reaching about the quarter race distance here in just a few laps.
Yeah, we saw a lot of good racing. Saw that high line come into play really strong there. The track temperature is right now about it's about stable. It has or how it has been since qualifying. So I can't imagine it's going to go down too much more, especially since we don't have lights that work at this track yet. So if it gets nighttime, we have other issues that aren't really going to be in the scope of that. But did see a lot of comers and goers in that run. You saw some AJ Digby scoot out to a pretty big lead, and then I think he just burned his tires up a little bit too fast. Probably going to change his approach this run if he figured out what he did wrong. And we saw Dave Wilson make his way up through the field pretty quick. We saw Dominic Lee do the same thing, but he ultimately got passed by Wilson because of got held up by a lap car a little bit. But it's pretty cool seeing how the long runs at this track are playing out.
And that's an interesting point, Cameron. One that I hadn't crossed my mind yet was the fact that they don't have lights yet at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the iRacing service. They do in real life, and you can see them all the way around the racetrack, but just iRacing hasn't added the night version of this track yet. So we do have day to night transitions, so you'll see the sun continue to set here. So that would be pretty interesting because, you know, even if they go green from here, we still probably have about an hour worth of race time left, and the sun is already pretty low on the horizon. So we saw it at Dover in the truck series, the MS Ford Truck Series, when it got fairly dark out on track. So I wonder if we're going to have a similar type of race here tonight. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But pace car lights are still on, and we'll at least get another lap of pacing here. If you're a Tanner Sharp fan, Tanner Sharp has been waved around to get one of his laps back, but he's still 16 laps off the pace at this present moment in time. So if you're a Tanner Sharp fan, you're basically hoping for cautions from here until the end of the race. And so he can get those laps back, because definitely at 16 laps down, that's a pretty insurmountable amount of laps to be down with, even with 100 laps to go.
And real quick before we go green, let's give a shout out to our chatters in the chat grassroots sim racing. Alan Capers, Flash Gordon, Kevin Volmar, and Levi Zelinsky, of course, owner of Rebel Racing, saying let's go Kyle. Pretty happy to see his number 25 machine of Kyle Zimmer running 4th right now. So see if he can make team owner a little bit happier with a little bit maybe leading some laps here.
Absolutely. Well, these cars are going through turns number 3 and 4. Pace car lights are off, getting set to go back to green flag racing. Interesting to note, Dominic Lee has some left rear damage. You can see it, but he did not decide to get that fixed under that caution flag. So we'll see what happens here once we go back to green flag racing. AJ Digby, we've seen him hungry, make a few mistakes. He's going to be restarting the second car on the inside line. Kyle Zimmer, the second car on the outside line. Green flag back in the air here, led by Dave Wilson. Good restart by Dominic Lee. He's going to stay side by side with the number 20 machine going off into turn number 1. They're going to head down there. Ooh, maybe a little bit of a slight movement there that kind of made Dominic Lee have to think twice about coming down as everyone cleaned throughout the pack. Now that we have a battle for second, here comes Digby. Digby looking to be inside of Lee, but Lee's going to hold tough here on the outside. That battle for second. In fact, Lee's going to get a fantastic run coming out of turn number 4. Oh, contact in the back. That's the car going through that Sudama. He's going to be doing some rallycross driving all the way through the Legends Oval there and finally finding his way back to the pavement. We'll watch this one on replay. Entered in the corner. Already, he wasn't quite sideways. He jumped down to the bottom, and it looks like he might have just got arrow tight coming off the corner, and that shot number 90 all the way down there through the grass. Great save to keep that thing pointed straight.
And we got a battle for the lead. Actually, not anymore. Dominic Lee has well and truly taken it, but Wilson is not going to hold. He's not going to let him go too easy on that inside line, holding very tough on that outside line. And Dominic Lee actually hit the apron a little bit, so I think Wilson is going to come back and take that lead off turn number 2. He's going to bring AJ Digby with him. AJ, of course, going to be looking for that lead. He wants to get back to where he started the race. But Dominic Lee says, no, thank you. I will go ahead and take that back. He's going to drive into turn number 3 and get a good run off turn number 4 here.
Yeah, but Digby just trying to stay in the draft behind Wilson to see if that can just pull that number 14 Mustang up to the back. Ooh, I think Digby might have just gotten a little bit too high there. There are some bumps on the high side. We're 3 wide for second. Here comes Kyle Zimmer. The 14 hit some bumps. The 2 had to check up just a little bit. And here comes Kyle Zimmer. Kyle Zimmer 2 for 1 here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And let me tell you, when you can double up in poker, it's usually a really good thing. And Kyle Zimmer just doubled up here at Vegas.
I tell you what, that 25 got an absolute massive run through 1 and 2 last time. Actually, here comes Digby back on the outside of him. But that 25 looks like he just hit the gas about a minute earlier than anyone else. And he just drove by everyone. So that was one heck of a move there. But anyway, Digby moves back into second place around Zimmer. So he's going to try to chase down that 20 of Wilson up in the front. The gap is about 0.8 of a second right now.
Yeah, with all that racing that Zimmer and Digby did, that did let Dave Wilson skip away out front. So there you see that lead, and all the racing a little bit further back. A great run by Nate Catilla. He's currently in the 5th position in that bright orange number 4 machine. We're watching him here. He has been steadfast to running that high lines through 3 and 4. I watched him on that last run. Every single lap he would run that higher line, and I think he's really getting a good drive off there, making the most of that number 4 machine here tonight, and showing us what he's really made of with a really pretty good run here so far. And Doug McCollum, we talked about him on that long run. He's currently running in the 6th position right behind Nate. So I just want to keep an eye on those 2 cars because they definitely look pretty fast on the long run. Now they have the track position and see if they can do anything with these front 4.
Yeah, and of course running that high line like Nate Catilla is doing is a good way to save your tires just because you're turning the wheel a little bit less and you're keeping that momentum up. And you know, it works at a track like this, and he's actually hunting down that number 2 in front of him. So good to see that number 4 having a good run tonight so far.
Yeah, you can see it there when Catilla goes off into 3 and 4. He just goes about a lane higher than anyone else and just kind of plants that car there and just runs there that whole corner long. As we see the 25, Kyle Zimmer, he's caught up to Digby again. Trying to go around the outside here, trying to get that nose there. He does, and I think Zimmer is going to be able to probably make that pass if he can stay side by side here through 3 and 4. Zimmer now running the Catilla line through 3 and 4, and he's going to get a great run up off the corner here. They're still side by side, right at the stripe. This time, Digby has the second spot by a mere 1/100th of a second as they dive now into turns number 1 and 2. But Zimmer's going to surely get that run out of turn number 2 and make that pass. Indeed, he does. So move Zimmer to second.
We have a 3-car battle for the fifth place. Dominic Lee, Nate Catilla, and Doug McCollum going at it. Catilla actually got a huge run on number 2 last lap, and looks like he's gonna get it again. But Lee and McCollum on that high side, just probably gonna be really hard to pass. But like you were saying, Peter, that 4-car is really stout tonight, and just actually he's gonna lose a little bit of momentum here on that bottom side. So either way, that 4-car very strong, and I get to see him having that good run so far.
Yeah, it looks like it's really tough right now to make that pass on the inside line. It seems like you're going to want to run a little bit higher on the racetrack to make a move. Here comes Kevin Cochran trying to prove me wrong in that number 80 Dumper Speed Shop Toyota. He's going to go to the inside of Kevin Cochran, I think, or excuse me, the inside of Catilla, and I thought Cochran was going to take that spot, but ooh, look at Doug McCollum. Doug McCollum now trying to prove me wrong. He's going to jump to the inside here of Dominic Lee, and he's going to sail it off into turn number 3 and 4. Almost made that pass work. Not quite able to clear him through the center of the corner, but I think McCollum is clear now as they go through the trioval. So move Doug McCollum up into 4th position. He's got about 9/10 of a second up to AJ Digby, so we'll see if that number 33 can run down the 14, because that number 33 was fast on the last long run. And oh, there we see the number 22, Daniel Hosser, back on pit road. Brian Lowhead and Hosser both sitting 5 laps down at this point in the race. Hosser going to go 6 laps down as the leaders flash by here. Look at this battle between Cochran and Catilla. It has not gone away. Cochran still just kind of showing that nose to Catilla down the front stretch. Catilla going to run that higher line that we've seen him running here. Looks like Dominic Lee. I wonder if that damage, Cameron, on the right rear corner of that number 2 car is starting to affect him.
Yeah, you have to think that it probably is, because really the rear end of these cars is so, it's one of the, quite surprisingly enough, it's one of the most aero-sensitive parts of the car. So really, any amount of damage on that end of the car can really mess it up. And one other car that has a lot too is the number 4 of Nate Catilla. I think we'll see it when he passes by here, but there's a lot of damage on that right front fender. So I think even with the speed that car has now, he could be a lot quicker if he just got it fixed up. But on a lighter note a little bit, I was watching the 80 car behind Nate Catilla, and is there any more intimidating thing to see in your mirror than a skull and crossbones, Peter?
No, if I see that out the back of my window, I know that driver is going to be coming for me. And Kevin Cochran with that great paint scheme, I gotta say, it kind of reminds me of the Silver Fox, especially here in the shadows down the front stretch. That number 80 car tends to disappear into the racing surface, so Kevin Cochran racing the number 80 Silver Fox Skull and Crossbones machine. Pretty cool to see. It's a good looking paint scheme. I don't see those colors very often, the orange, the gray, and the black, but definitely does a great job of that scheme. As you see this battle a little bit further back, that's Billy Wise in the number 32, and he's being pressured by the number 13 of Alan Capers. Oh, excuse me, just past Alan Capers. So, well, Capers still going to try and keep that pressure up to see if he's going to be able to get back by him. That is a battle for the 10th position. Billy Wise now inside the top 10. It seems like he's pulling away just a little bit from Alan Capers. Back up to this battle. Kevin Cochran hasn't gone anywhere, and Catilla, I think, starting to close in just a little bit on Dominic Lee here. Over the last few laps, Catilla, actually, that last time by was about 2.5 tenths faster than Lee. So I think Dominic's damage is definitely hurting. Look at how high they're running in 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that. I was watching this battle real quick, or just a minute ago, and the way that they're running on the high side is completely different. Dominic actually kind of driving it. He's kind of floating in the corner, and Nate is actually just kind of sailing it off on that high side, somehow making it work. I don't know how he's doing it, because I certainly could not do that. I would just plow the wall down, knock it down. I'd be in the grandstands, but it's really cool to see. Looks like we're actually going to have a battle for that position right here. Here comes Nate Tilly. He gets a great run through 3 and 4. Going to pull to the bottom on Dominic Lee here. See if he can make the move going into 1. Not going to clear him just yet, but he sails off in the corner. I think he's going to slide up, do a little bit of a slide job, and Dominic's going to say, no, 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 I'm going to come back here on the bottom. So good racing here for 5th spot.
And they got really close coming out of turn number 2, but I think Attila now has his preferred high line here through 3 and 4, so we'll see if he can make this work. Well, isn't quite able to get the drive out of 4 that he was looking for, because the number 2 of Lee's going to hold tough here on the inside line. Up at the front, you're not missing all too much. Kyle Zimmer is starting to make some inroads. Oh, look at this! The number 2 washes up the track. He's going to have to roll out of the throttle to not make contact with Katila and move Katila now up into the 5th position outright, as Kevin Cochran's now going to go do battle with that number 2. You see the number 3 there of Tanner Sharp. He's 16 laps down at this present moment in time. In fact, he will pass Daniel Hosser in the number 22 here in a couple laps. Hosser has taken it to the garage for tonight's event. So Cochran staying right on that high line. Look at Tanner Sharp running all the way up there near the wall. There's some nasty bumps up there, and I think he might have hit some of those bumps in the number 3 and now has some more right front damage. So Tanner Sharp, he's 16 laps down, now going to have to fight that right front damage. But Kevin Cochran keeping it nice and smooth here, Cameron. I think he's just lining up this pass, being patient.
Yeah, that 2 car actually, when he got passed by the 4, he drove it down into turn number 1 and hit the apron a lot, and the front end of that car just bottomed out about 3 times, and I'm surprised he didn't wreck it, because that thing looked awful, but it's like he's gathered it up. I have to imagine that, you know, Dominic is one of the faster drivers in this league, and he's really fast otherwise. I have to think that damage is well and truly affecting that car, because it just looks like he cannot do anything right now. He's struggling pretty badly right now.
Well, look at that. You just saw it on screen. Doug McCollum in the number 33 machine has taken it to the 3rd position. So tries are wild currently for Doug McCollum, the 33 in the 3rd spot.
Yeah, he's actually the fastest car on track right now, Doug McCollum.
Yeah, and he's trying to run down Kyle Zimmer and Dave Wilson. Like I said, Kyle Zimmer starting to make some inroads on Dave Wilson. Over the last 5 laps, Zimmer's been about a 10th faster on average than Dave Wilson. In fact, oh, we have a caution here at Vegas. Caution flag in the air. There's the number 99 of Berardi. Not sure if Berardi was...
Oh, it's the 2 car. It's Dominic Lee.
Oh! Dominic Lee around on the front stretch. Oh, he hit the wall coming out of the corner. Sent it through the grass. Came up the racetrack there. Ooh, hard contact with the outside wall. He definitely will be getting that damage fixed this time, without a doubt. Able to get that number 2 pointed around, so just a single car spin here to bring out the yellow flag. Watch this on replay. Yeah, that's a hard hit with the outside wall. That definitely completely unloaded the car and sent it around through the grass.
Yeah, and I guess that damage on the rear is not an issue anymore, because he just used up the rest of it, but he'll go ahead and get it fixed up, and I guess we'll see what he can do with a clean car now.
So at this present moment in time, we have 57 laps down. Dave Wilson, your race leader, he's led 31 laps so far in this event. Kyle Zimmer currently sitting 2nd. Doug McCollum, great showing by him, up to 3rd. Digby, your pole sitter, sits 4th. Katila, 5th. Kevin Cochran, great showing by him, running in the 6th position, as all these drivers now hitting pit road for what I would expect to be 4 tires and fuel. Cameron, I don't expect to see anyone take 2 tires here, as we had about a 29 lap run or so there, which was great to see.
Yeah, taking 2 tires at this stage in the race would probably not net you much gain, and would actually probably cause you to wreck, because those left side would be just so well past their use by date, and just wouldn't have really anything left in them. So I think you are right. We're going to see mostly 4-tire stops. And, ooh, Kyle Zimmer gets a great stop. He's going to win the race off pit road, beating Dave Wilson and Doug McCollum.
Yeah, Kyle Zimmer, 14.3 seconds stop according to my clock. And yeah, he will be the first one off pit road. Dave Wilson had a nightmare of a stop, 16 seconds. Zimmer was 2 seconds faster overall on pit lane than the number 20 of Dave Wilson. So that's definitely going to be the difference as they get off pit road. There is the number 13 of Alan Capers. He's going to stay out to try and lead a lap. Don't think he led the lap that last time by, so hopefully for that number 13 machine he'll get to lead it this time. We've seen Capers do that a couple times to stay out and get that bonus point, but Cameron, we're only a few laps away from the halfway mark, and I'm sure Dave Wilson will be a little bit upset that he wasn't quite able to get that, get that lead back here, but we'll wait and see. I'm sure that number 20 will be coming here on the restart. There is no halfway bonus point here in the SimPossible Racing League B-Car Series. Unlike in the MS Ford Truck Series there is, but not here in the B-Car Series.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was actually going to just bring that up because I just remembered that Tanner was, he sent his owl with a message to me saying that the halfway bonus point was no longer a thing. But either way, you still want to lead at halfway because it just, I don't know, it's a cool lap to lead. So it means half the race is done and you got one more of those to do. So definitely going to be a good race for the lead here with Zimmer and Wilson. We've seen these drivers battle all season long in the MS Ford Truck Series, and you got to think some of that competitive nature is going to spill over to this series. Of course, everyone wants to win, but when you battle with somebody in one series and then go to the next series, it makes you want to beat them just a little bit more.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, Zimmer has won quite a few races on the truck side, so I'm sure he's hoping to get to victory lane here on the B-Car side of things. And Doug McCollum, he took the win on the Truck Series side of things at Pocono earlier this year, so I'm sure he's hoping to get another race win. And then Digby, just there in the 14, he took the Truck Series win at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, so he's also looking for his second SimPossible win as pace car lights are finally off, and we'll get set to go back to green flag racing here in just a lap.
Yeah, and as we're getting closer to the second half of this race, I'm really excited to see how the track changes more. Really, it is getting a little bit cooler. The sun quite far down on the horizon, so the lighting here is quite dark, but we've seen some really good racing all race, and I got to imagine that it's going to only get better as we get down closer to the end.
Well, pace car lights are off. Leaders down there on the back stretch. And yeah, that sun definitely inching ever so closer to the horizon. It's probably got maybe about 30, maybe 45 minutes left before it sets. So it will be interesting to see if we can get there before this track starts to descend into the darkness. But it will be Kyle Zimmer taking us back to the green flag here at Vegas Motor Speedway. And look at that glare all these drivers are having to fight with coming out of turn number 4. All the drivers now just pointing towards the sun as the green flag is unfurled and back in the air here at Las Vegas. The 25 getting a pretty good restart, but Dave Wilson is not going anywhere. They're going to be side by side into turn number 1. Of course, the 25 down there, he's probably going to be pretty much flat out through turns number 1 and 2 here on the restart. So I think he's going to be able to hold off Dave Wilson for at least a lap. But here comes the 33, Doug McCollum, looking to the inside of that number 20 Toyota. Oh, man, 25 was able to skip away just a little bit as you saw them all flash by our camera. Great camera work here tonight by Carlos Acosta. We appreciate him each and every week. There's the number 4, Nate Cotillo, running the Nate Cotillo line up there. trying to get around AJ Digby, and while he's at it, trying to go around Doug McCollum in the 33. Move that number 4 machine. He's absolutely coming here. He's got the that right side damage fix on the 4. So I think with that damage fixed, I think he can finally mount a charge for these leaders.
And if you're not a believer of the Nate Catilla line yet, I think you should be now. Because look how much of a run he gets on the high side. He's going to get by the 33 pretty easily here. Just getting that throttle down and holding it wide open. Able to keep that car wound up and move him to the 3rd position. And we see the battle kind of heating up for the lead right in front of him. Zimmer and Wilson going to probably start fighting for it here pretty soon. Nate Catilla's going to love that because as soon as those 2 cars go side by side, he's going to be right in it.
Yeah, and look at Dave Wilson just showing that nose to that number 25 just a little bit there through turns number 1 and 2. Just saying, hey, bud, I'm here. And now he's showing his nose to the inside of the 25. I think he's just trying to see if that number 25 is going to make a move to the inside line to see if he can get to the outside line in the corner. I'm sure he's fighting a little bit of aero push being that close to the back bumper of the number 25 machine. And definitely some aero push can set your car just a little bit too tight to make a move sometimes. So we'll have to keep an eye on whether Dave decides to move around just a little bit. Those 2 cars running right up there on the high line in 3 and 4. You're not missing too much back behind these 2. Nate Catilla and Doug McCollum have sorted things out there 3rd and 4th respectively. AJ Digby 5th. One driver we wanted to keep an eye on is Dominic Lee in that number 2 machine. He's worked himself up to the 8th position after being the lone car in that last caution. He's got the number 3 of Tanner Sharp to his inside. Of course, Tanner is multiple laps down. A little bit of bump drafting on the backstretch between Dominic Lee and Kevin Cochran as we jump back up to the front. It's like Wilson. Oh, he got so close to the wall. I was almost expecting to see some sparks there. That was, man, a little bit of a heart-stop moment up here in the booth, but I'm sure Dave Wilson knew what was going on. Driver in control, just trying to close in ever so slowly but surely on that 25 machine.
Ooh, I saw something pretty far back in the back that scared me. Dominic Lee got the position on the 80 of Kevin Cochran, but the 80 blinked out for just a moment, and I thought those 2 cars were going to kind of netcode each other, but Dominic was able to complete the pass successfully. So move that car up to the 7th spot. See how well he can get to the field after being involved in that last caution. But I think our best battle on the track so far is Chris Roberge is going for 9th place on the 80. Back and pack a little bit.
Yeah,
so those 2 cars side by side into turn number 3.
Yeah, Roberge running that lower line, Cochran running the high line. Cochran's definitely given up some positions on this run so far. Definitely had a really good showing that last run, but I think Cochran's a long run type of car. I think if we get a long green flag run, we'll see him challenge for a top 5 once again. Excuse me, as we're running down the back stretch.
Comes Billy Wise, the outside of Travis Azuma. He's going to make that spot. Actually, the 32, oddly enough, still has that rear end damage we saw very early on in the race. Looks like that car actually got rammed by the Wienermobile. Kind of an odd amount of damage, but I guess it's not affecting him too much. We have battle for lead here. Dave Wilson looking to the outside of Kyle Zimmer. Looks like he's going to get that run on that middle line. Not quite the Nate Catilla line, but he's going to very well take that lead into turn number 3 and move Dave Wilson to the lead.
Yeah, and I think that's you know, how you're going to have to pass some of these faster cars. It's just run that high line to get that grip. Here comes the number 98, Chris Roberge, and Travis Zudema there in the number 90. We've seen Zudema run pretty well tonight. He's back up into the 10th position after going through the grass not too long ago, but now here comes the number 25, Matthew Lesniewski, down there on the inside, 24 of Lesniewski, down there on the inside line of that Jeff Gordon-inspired DuPont number 24 machine. And he's not going to be able to stay side by side with Zudema here. He's going to get around Billy Wise, though, as Billy Wise is going to drop back into the 12th position. Look at this. This is AJ Digby. Digby has caught the 33 of McCollum and the number 4 of Catilla, and Digby just drove it down to the inside in 1 and 2. Here comes McCollum in the over-under. This battle for the 4th position, and we have that side-by-side battle there, and the 4 there of Catilla sitting in the 3rd position just in front of these two. So if the 14 and the 33 can get sorted out, maybe they can challenge that number 4 machine for 3rd.
Yeah, great racing up here. We see a bit further in the back, there's Dominic Lee going to work on Tim Masters. I believe that is for the 6th position right there. Dominic Lee, of course. Ooh, he's going to make it 3 wide into turn number 3. That is the number 3 of Tanner Sharp at the top. He's 15 laps down. A lot of 3s there, so I'm getting myself confused. But very close there with Dominic and Tim. But it looks like they are good. But here comes the number 80 of Kevin Cochran. He's going to say, I will take that spot. Thank you very much. And here we see a bit further up. There's Nick Catilla. He got passed by the number 33 of Doug McCollum. And he's going to get looked on by the 14 of Digby, but they're going to pull back in line and sort it out into 30.
Yeah, I think at this point in the run, we're starting to see some cars transition from, kind of due to tire wear, some cars that saved their tires a little bit earlier in the run now starting to transition to be some of the faster cars out there on the circuit. Looks like Chris Roberge and Lesniewski, those two still going at it for position. There's some great racing all the way. Oh, contact there. The 98's in the outside wall, and here they go. The 98 now hard in the inside. Oh my gosh.
Stuck in the wall for a moment.
That reminds me of the wreck that Jeff Gordon had. Jeff Gordon hit just a little bit further down, but we have no caution here at Vegas for that very, very hard hit. We'll watch this. That little nudge there in the center of the corner put Roberge in the wall, and man, that number 98 just came to a stop.
That was a brutal hit.
That machine's smoking, so he's going to have to limp it back to pit road. So we watch this one on replay one more time. Just that little nudge right there as Lesniewski pushed up just a little bit, and man, Billy Wise got away with getting away with murder there in that machine. He did a great job of not getting worse off than he was. He swashed us off the nose of that number 32. He kind of looked like the track was clear, and man, he had to slam on the brakes. Looks like he didn't make any contact with the number 98 machine, or a little bit of contact with the 98, but not too much. As here comes Digby. Digby now looking underneath Catilla for 4th. So the 4 machine was in 4th, but unfortunately he's going to lose that spot. AJ Digby now, good for him as he's going to move up to 4th. He's going to try and make some inroads on the cars in front of him. There's the number 66, I do believe, of Brian Lowhead down there on the apron. They were now in the bottom of turn number 1 and 2. But I'm watching these lap times throughout the field. Currently, Alan Capers in the number 13 just ran the fastest lap on track. Up at the front, Dave Wilson and Kyle Zimmer running pretty similar lap times. They're not really, one or another. They're kind of just trading off fastest laps between the two. Doug McCollum is about a 10th off the pace of Dave Wilson and Kyle Zimmer here over the last 5 laps. So Dave Wilson up there currently with about a 9/10 of a second lead. As you watch this battle a little bit further back, this is Kevin Cochran and Dominic Lee. That is a battle for the 7th position. Right in front of them is Tim Masters in the number 9 car. He sits in 6th, so this is kind of a 3-way battle for the 6th position. And I'm sure Dominic Lee, after catching the wall just not too long ago, he's looking to move forward as we are almost to the 50 to go mark.
Yeah, just a bit further ahead, the battle for 4th has cooled down a little bit, and Nick Tilla in the 4 car has pulled away from AJ Digby just a little bit, and pretty spread out through the field right now. It looks like they are, actually, as I say that battle you were talking about, Peter, I think that's 6th place right there. Dominic Lee pulls ahead a little bit, but here comes Tim Masters back around the outside, using that momentum to his advantage, and he's going to take it away from Dominic. So this battle is going to keep going on. Dominic, of course, was pretty fast early on in the race, just got that damage. We were talking about how it might have affected him in that left rear corner, and really losing that track position, I think had to have hurt him, excuse me. But trying to get some of that back here on the 9 of 10 Masters.
And you just saw a flash of the number 98 of Chris Roberge. I think Chris Roberge has succumbed to the same thing that Tanner Sharp succumbed to earlier, and that's not clicking his fast repair on, because that number 98 is still sitting on track now 7 laps down, and hopefully he can get that 98 machine back onto the track, but that crew definitely going to work on it. And the bad news is that if they have to put a brand new engine in that machine and can't get it back running, that's going to take a long amount of time. Here is Dominic Lee once again under Tim Masters. He's tried this a couple times, not quite able to make it work just yet, but as they go into 3 and 4, that number 2 digging down there on the bottom, getting all that clean air on the nose. I think he might be able to make the pass this time. It's really tight down the straightaway. And indeed, Dominic Lee now moves up into the 6th position. He's got AJ Digby, the 5th place car, in front of him. And Digby's actually fallen off the back of Catilla quite a bit. That 14 Ford is still nice and clean, so he hasn't hit the wall or anything. But Nick Catilla has pulled about 1.2 seconds ahead of Digby in the 14. Look at this battle. Oh, look at Zudema down there on the inside line trying to get around Tim Masters. So Masters lost the spot to Dominic Lee, and now he's lost the spot to Zudema, and now he's under fire by the 80 of Cochran. So I don't think Tim Masters is moving in the right direction at this point in the run, as we are now under 50 laps to go.
And the fastest car on the track right now looks to be Doug McCollum, so I think we were talking about him earlier. He just kind of lets the car come to him in the run, and looks like he's saving his tires pretty well, running about a tenth quicker, actually a tenth to 2 tenths quicker than the 2 in front of him. So if we actually let this run play out, I think that 33 is going to be one to watch. He's actually quite visibly catching the 25 in front of him. You see him on the screen right now, not very far at all, the gap, and I believe the gap to the lead is about 1.5 seconds right now. So that 33 car very, very stout on the long runs here.
Yeah, and over the last 5 laps, the number 33 has been averaging about 1.5 tenths faster than Dave Wilson. So that number 33 Chevrolet is hunting those front 2. We look a little bit further back in the pack. There's Lesniewski in that number 24 machine. Oh, he clips the wall on entry there into the corner, and he's currently running 13th. The number 17 right behind him, Fernando Matos, is in 14th, as we get a nice close-up shot there of the number 80 of Kevin Cochran. And it looks like Cochran has got around Tim Masters, so Masters slides back to 9th in the number 9 machine, and Cochran back up to 8th. I'm going to keep an eye on the pace of that number 80 machine, because we said earlier that he tends to have a long-run machine. Let's see if you can get around Zudema and Lee, but man, Zudema has also kind of had a long-run pace. He's been one of those who's just slowly snuck up through the field, so keep an eye on that pack. Dominic Lee, Travis Zudema, and Kevin Cochran to see if they can make their way up through the field. As you see, 2 new oh, we got to wreck Dominic Lee hard in the wall. Caution flag is out here. It happened on the front stretch. Not quite sure what happened, but there was a lot of damage on that number 2 machine. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and don't know what, maybe some net code there with Berardi?
I think that 2 car made an evasive move to get around the 99 and just kind of lost it.
Let's see on replay here. I saw some sparks fly on the replay, and not quite sure. Oh yeah, he made an evasive maneuver there, and the 99 was just there. And unfortunately for Dominic Lee, he got the short end of the stick and into the outside wall. There's Berardi in that number 99. He also got a piece of it. A couple of drivers there involved to bring out the caution flag here with about 42 laps to go.
And I think that was a product of you saw the 99 of Johnny Berardi just kind of staying low in the track just to keep away, you know, keep out of the way. But he was kind of straddling the apron on the front stretch, and it upset his car just a little bit. And you know, really nothing that he did wrong, trying to just stay out of the way there, but just you know, just a little bit of wrong car placement right there.
Oof, yep. And Kevin Cochran, he had a great run going. You see him just now exiting his pit box. He had a great run going, but he accrued a lot of damage here as Lesniewski also off pit road right in front of your race leaders with Matos. And now all your leaders now hitting their pit box. Dave Wilson's crew going to work, as is AJ Dickey. You see the right side of those machines go up as those crews go to work. We see the 25 of Zimmer rolling, that number 25 crew trying to do the same thing they did last time, but I think Wilson's going to pip him at the line. Catilla looks like he just pips the number 14. We'll have to see what the iRacing timing and scoring has to show there. Does indeed look like Dave Wilson will come off pit road. Alan Capers stayed out to lead a lap. He did lead a lap this time, so that's good. As you see some clouds and the beautiful backdrop of the sunny sky here, the sun-setting sky I should say, because it's going down pretty rapidly. It's about 5:16 here in the sim.
Quite a nice atmospheric effect, really. Those skies very beautiful. It's one thing I can say about the new dynamic sky that they brought to the sim. It's very nice looking and really adds a lot of, you know, just visual. You see, look at the reflections there on the number 20 onboard. You see the sun reflection on the hood. Really cool looking right there. So, you know, it's the little things. It's really the little things that make the sim what it is.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, just an additional level of realism can make all the difference, especially for those long endurance races that we get here in the iRacing services. Chris Roberge has finally been able to get that number 98 machine back around. Definitely a tough break for him. He's currently scored 12 laps down. In fact, 1 lap ahead of Tanner Sharp. So that number 98 machine definitely probably succumbed to the exact same thing that Tanner Sharp succumbed to earlier, and that's just forgetting to check your fast repair. But that 98 will get that fast repair done after we saw him with a vicious impact on the inside wall in the back stretch just coming out of turn number 2. So good to see Roberge sticking this one out, try and get to the finish, which will be in 41 laps here as they pace around here under the caution flag. Hey, Alan Capers is going to be coming down pit road this time. Nope, excuse me. He's already made his pit stop. So Capers near the back of the field once this all gets sorted out. So Cameron, we have about 40 laps to go this time at the stripe. Any predictions for how this one's going to turn out?
Well, I don't know. You know, of course, Dave Wilson is showing speed at the first part and the last part of the run, but looks like Doug McCollum is probably the quickest car on the long run. He's saving his tires the best, but he is in 5th right now. So depending on how this restart goes, I'm going to put my eye on that 33 car if we can go green to the end.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good call on that number 33 machine, but I'm going to keep an eye out on Travis Zunema, because Zunema, he's also one of those long run cars, and he's finally got some good track position in that number 90 machine. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see if he can come away with a top 3 finish here tonight, because he's been pretty fast on the long runs.
Don't count out that 4 car, Nate Catilla. He showed that he's a firecracker on the restarts, and you know, he might just make it 3 wide, or you know, invite some of his friends over and make it 4 or 5 wide. But you know, can never count out that 4 car to be really quick. At least he's very quick on the short run. Loses a little bit of speed on the long run, but he's regardless still pretty quick after the green flag flies.
Yeah, well, chill out, Cameron. We're only 3 wide TV. We don't need 4 or 5 wide. We're only 3 wide TV. As pace car lights are off, pace car diving down here. As you see all of those drivers driving off into the sunset, coming out of turn number 4. Green flag back in the air. great restart by the whole field. Look at the number 25, Kyle Zimmer. He got a really good launch. He's able to stay side by side with Dave Wilson. Wilson diving down to almost clip the apron there through the tri-oval just to give him a little bit of advantage into turn number 1. Looks like the 20 and the 25 going to get clear in front of Catilla and Digby. That battle for third, the 14 and the number 4. Gonna see if, oh, Catilla's gonna dive it down into turn number, contact there between the 14 and the 4, and that's gonna open the door for Doug McCollum. Out of nowhere, move McCollum up to the third position, to the 33 and third once again. Tries are wild here. And look at the number 2, Dominic Lee. Lee's gonna jump up to the third position just like that. Here comes AJ Digby to the inside of Dominic Lee. They're all over the place going down the backstretch looking for every inch. So just like that, Doug McCollum went from 3rd to 5th as we have a side-by-side battle for the race lead ahead. It sorted itself out. Zimmer was looking to the inside of Wilson, wasn't able to find the runoff off that corner, but now Dominic Lee in that number 2 car. He's been really fast here tonight. Started in 4th, now back up to the 3rd position, and ooh, looks like Zimmer might have caught the apron just a little bit. Cameron, I think that's going to open it up for Dominic Lee.
Yeah, Dominic Lee absolutely on the rear spoiler of Zimmer, but not going to be able to do anything. Actually, he does go high, so I think he knows what the speed is on the track right now. Actually, Zimmer gets a very good run through 3 and 4. He's going to actually pull away from Dominic Lee a little bit. But a couple laps ago, what a job by Nate Catilla. I don't think we saw it too well on the broadcast, but he absolutely got booted in the back by the 14 after that checkup, and somehow saved the car, and he's still up here in this battle for the top 5 spot. So good on him. That's a great piece of driving. Really not something you want to have happen at a track as fast as this, getting kind of moved out of the way, but he is still up there. We have the battle for 4th. There's Digby going around the 33 of Doug McCollum, and Nate Catilla running, so throwing sparks everywhere, but he didn't lose that much speed. Kind of just running that Nate Catilla line per se, but yeah, battles all over this track.
Yeah, the battle currently for 3rd. As you see, AJ Digby trying to get to the high side on Dominic Lee, not quite able to do so yet. It seems like the speed currently is in the low line. Oh, look at AJ Digby. He's going to do the over-under, go from the high line to the low line through turns number 3 and 4. He's going to get to the inside of Dominic Lee, going down below that white stripe just to straighten out the track just a little bit. He's going to send it off into turns number 1 and 2. Watch to see if that number 14 washes up a little bit. He does. Here comes Lee to the outside. Lee's going to get a poor run off the corner, and here comes Doug McCollum, because Digby had to check up as well. They're 3 wide into turn number 3, and I'm not quite sure if McCollum's going to be able to hold his own down there on the bottom. Not quite able to make the move on Digby, but Dominic Lee has now slid back to 5th in just about a lap. So wow, what a move by Digby, and now Dominic Lee looking to gain one of those spots back. He might have put the apron just a little bit, which seemed to hurt his mid-corner speed there. So move McCollum up to 4th, Digby back to 3rd. This is just what Dave Wilson and Kyle Zimmer want to see, is these guys racing so hard right behind them.
Yeah, this is fantastic stuff, and we're coming to 30 to go, and like I said, I think really just the way we've seen this race play out, if we can get some more laps on the tires, I think we're going to see some more comers and goers, especially up near the front. But looks like these guys are racing extremely hard right now, so they know it's go time, and there's no time to waste, and one driver that is not wasting any time is that 20 of Dave Wilson. I believe he has led the most laps so far. Looks like we have a problem with the 24 of Matthew Lesniewski. Has some damage on that car, not exactly sure what happened there.
New 3rd place, looks like Doug McCollum has gotten around Digby to move his number 33 back into 3rd, as Digby now under fire by Dominic Lee as they head down the back stretch, but he's got number 3 of Tanner Sharp tucked up right behind him, trying to give him a push down that back stretch. For all you Tanner Sharp fans, he's still sitting down in the 18th position, 3 wide coming off the corner. That's Tanner Sharp, 13 laps down, 3 wide, and the number 3 not holding anything back. He's actually going to take or get around those cars on the track, but here comes Digby. Digby is going to get around Tanner Sharp here as man, Dominic Lee cannot be happy because he was held up there by the 3 just a little bit on exit. Great job by Tanner Sharp to keep it pinned down on that white line, but Dominic Lee definitely trying to race for position here. And Tanner Sharp, he's trying to get his laps back the old-fashioned way, but we have a caution here on track. Looks like the number 80, Kevin Cochran's going through the grass. And that's also Alan Capers. Both of those 2 cars having a off-track excursion. We'll have to see if we can catch this one on replay to see if it brought out the yellow. It doesn't look like anyone got any major damage from this one. Yep, just looks like they hit the wall pretty hard in that number 80 machine. We'll have to see if we can get another look at that. The 80 and the 13 both racing really hard here. And coming up off the corner, oh, a little bit of a nudge. And that got the 80 sideways, a little bit of nudge, a little bit of net code. But a good save by those 2 drivers. They're able to keep it going straight, but not straight enough for the caution to stay in the flagman's hand. There is Tanner Sharp. He's actually going to get one of his laps back here with the wave around. So he's now 12 laps down. Chris Roberge right in front of him is also going to get a wave around. So those 2 drivers many laps down due to certain issues with the fast repair. As all the drivers coming back down pit road. Cameron, 2 tires at this point, you think? Or 4?
I would have to say 4, just because we have too many laps to go to make 2 tires viable, I think. But, you know, these drivers are in the cars. They know how the cars feel, and, you know, maybe with the track temp being what it is, how low the sun is on the horizon, you know, maybe 4 or maybe 2 would work. So maybe we'll see it, but who knows?
Oh, AJ Digby slid through his pit box in the number 14 machine. That's not going to help his chances here under this pit cycle, this pit sequence. Oh man, look, Kyle Zimmer once again, great run off pit road, but looks like the number 20 is going to pip him to the line. McCollum 3rd, then the 14, the 4, and the 2. So pretty much status quo coming on and off pit road, with Dave Wilson leading here. Well, currently the lead is gone to Alan Capers, who did stay out to lead another lap. So there he is. He's got the number 98 of Chris Roberge right in front of him. Roberge, of course, will be taking the wave around here, I'm sure. Try and get one of his laps back, but he might come down pit road this time. We'll wait and see. I think he's going to stay out, though, try and get one of those laps back to see if he can catch a quickie yellow, or a quick yellow after this one, because cautions do breed cautions, Cameron. I hate to say it, but cautions bunch up the field, and that's when the most action happens.
You're very right about that, especially with the amount of racing and really contact. We have seen some contact on these restarts. Just yeah, the field is so tight, and these cars are so close, and it's really chaotic on the restarts. But it's cool to watch. From up here in the booth. I'm glad I'm not in the car really, because I'd probably be just canceling my iRacing subscription right out there on the racetrack right now. But it's been really fun to watch from up here.
That's some pretty harsh words there. Canceling your iRacing subscription while driving. That's I would like to see that happen. I mean, man, I know if you have multiple monitors, So anyway, want to keep an eye on the number 24 machine, Matthew Lesniewski. I think he's taken it to the garage. He was running a couple laps down in that number 24 machine when we last saw him. He's currently 5 laps down, and 6 laps down as the leaders went by that last time, and he has disconnect from the server. So if Chris Roberge and Tanner Sharp can stay in this one, that's another spot for them to gain. Of course, those two drivers will be thinking about points because they're definitely up there in the point standings. And, points are everything here towards the beginning of the chase. As you can see, the sun continuing to set here at Vegas. I think we'll have just enough sunlight to get this one in, Cameron.
Yeah, you're right about that. And one driver I want to give a quick shout out to before we go green, pace car lights are off. Is that number 17 of Fernando Matos, of course, pretty much been plagued by bad luck his entire SimPossible career, per se, but having a pretty good run right now. Kept the car clean, and he's right up in the top 10 right now. And actually posted a video to the SimPossible Facebook page about, he made a little mini documentary about his passion for racing and just cars in general. And it's called My First Passion. He shows kind of him racing in NASCAR Racing 3 and some other racing games. It's a really cool watch. I recommend everyone to go check that out. It's really cool to see. Looks like he's been a fan of race cars ever since he's been a little boy. So good to see him having a good run tonight. But back here at the front, pace car lights are out, and we're gonna be set to go green here with 24 laps to go.
Yeah, 24 lap shootout in the desert. I'm sure all these drivers have their 6 shooters ready to get ready for the finish here. You see those lights on in that Ref RT12 pace car. No lights currently on around the track, but lights are currently on that pace car. Or at least the headlights are on, but the lights atop of it are off, and it's now off the track as the race is in the hands of the number 20 of Dave Wilson. Green flag back in the oh, look at that. The field just scattering all over the place in the midfield. Dave Wilson able to get a really good restart. He's going to get around the number 25 of Kyle Zimmer, but here comes Doug McCollum. Doug McCollum trying to follow that number 20 through into second, and indeed he does. So Zimmer caught a little bit sleepy there as McCollum is going to look for this race lead. They're going to be side-by-side battle for third between the number 4 of Nate Catilla and Kyle Zimmer. Here comes Kyle Zimmer. Zimmer right on through the middle of the corner. Zimmer now going back on Doug McCollum, and Zimmer's actually looking for the race lead. What a move by Zimmer. As we're 3 wide, here comes Dominic Lee. 3 wide off into turn number 1. Now he's underneath the 33. We're still 3 wide. We're
That's not going to work. That's not going to work.
That's not going to work. 14 did be hard in the outside wall.
Yeah, that couldn't have worked there. There was just too many cars in such a small space there. But we're still racing for the lead regardless. It's like, was that AJ Digby that got moved out of the action? Doug McCollum actually goes in the wall in turn number 3. So cars all over the track here. We're still racing for the lead. Kyle Zimmer actually has taken the lead. So, wow, that was a lap and a half of absolute. We don't even know what happened. We still don't know what happened.
Well, Kyle Zimmer has come away with the lead in this one, and Doug McCollum rode that number 33 car in the wall pretty much halfway down the front stretch. So I'm sure that number 33 is going to be hurting pretty bad. So that is an absolute shame for that number 33 machine because he's been so fast here tonight. But here comes Dave Wilson in that number 20. He's definitely not backing down as you see that bumper full of the number 20. And as they go through turns number 1 and 2, and my oh my, these guys know how to put on a show when it's go time here out in the desert. And Dave Wilson, I think he's going to just try driving that number 20 just a little bit different than Kyle Zimmer out front. We've seen Zimmer really fast on the short run. We'll have to see if he can keep it all together on a longer run here. Man, I was just thinking that Zimmer got a pretty poor restart, dropped all the way back to third, but he found the gas in turn number 3 and 4 before the 20 of Wilson and McCollum did, and he just shot like a cannon around the outside. It was a really impressive move.
Yeah, and if you actually look at the tachometer on this 20 car, and you hear the engine note, these guys are absolutely pegging the chip right at the end of the straightaway. Because the track temperature has gotten a little bit cooler. It is now 71 degrees, and the ambient light has gone away substantially. So these cars have a ton of grip, a ton of horsepower, a ton of speed, and this Battle for Lead is the hottest thing on track right now.
Yeah, Nate Catilla has gotten himself up into the 3rd position. He's going to try and see if he can close in on the race leaders. Last time by fastest driver out on the racetrack was David Wilson by just a fraction of a second. Actually, I take that back. Nate Catilla and Dave Wilson ran equivalent lap times.
Look how close
my
these
timing.
cars are.
Ooh, yeah, Wilson's gonna try that inside lineup off the corner. Not quite able to find anything there yet as the 25 shuts the door. But don't count out that number 4 machine because he's just lurking there right behind those two.
Absolutely. It's as close as these cars are. Oh, look, there we go. Kyle Zimmer, loose, and ooh, he's still trying to save it. Oh yeah, that was back up in traffic, and yep, he's gonna get hit by a couple cars. Caution is out.
My oh my, that little bit of man, that was reminiscent of what we saw at Daytona, Cameron, with these front ends of these cars. Just a little bit of contact can send them spinning, and I think we saw maybe the 20 right up on the back bumper of that number 25 on the straightaway, and I would have to think there was a little bit of contact. You see it right there. And yep, that was just like what we saw at Daytona.
I don't even know if there was contact. I think that the air just got taken off that car so much. I mean, we can see if we can get a replay from the bumper cam, but if there was contact, it was the slightest of contact, and that's a shame. Obviously, the 20 wasn't trying to wreck him, just trying to stay on that car. You know, we see that a lot, but yeah, that's a shame that happened. That was such a good battle from the lead, such a good race, and Kyle Zimmer probably absolutely dejected right now because it's only 15 laps to go, and he pretty much just got taken out.
Yeah, you see this right there, man. It must have been just the slightest of touches, and that was enough to send a number 25 around. Either they did make contact or it was an aero thing, because man, it did get really close there through the tri-oval. There's the number 3 of Tanner Sharp. He's limping around on the track,
and nowhere to go for that 9 car of Tim Masters. Or excuse me, was that the? I think that was the 3.
Yeah, it was the 3.
That was Tanner. Yeah, Tanner made sure to point out that the cars were similar before the race and to not mix them up, and I just did. So I'm sorry, Tanner. We are doing our things up here in the booth. Just nowhere for that car to go. Just that 25 all out of whack going into turn number 1. Just trying to save it and ran out of time and room to save it. So just I don't know. This has been such an exciting race, hasn't it? We see the cone back there getting booted off the racing surface. I think somebody might get a penalty for that.
Quite possibly. Dave Wilson did come down pit road, made looks like a full 4-tire stop. And so look at the number 25 there at the top of your screen. I think Zimmer is saying, hey, bud, what was all that about? I think Zimmer must have felt the bump that sent him spinning, and oh boy, I think Dave Wilson, no, I thought that 20 might come back down pit road there, as you see some of your lapped cars coming down pit road, led by the number 3 of Tanner Sharp. That number 3 has, man, he's seen a tough night here. Not definitely what he was looking for.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, really a tough night that was ended in turn number 2 on lap 1 with that accident. Just a little bit of a mistake where he forgot to check the fast repair. And I know we kind of saw him racing with the 2 car of Dominic Lee there a caution ago or so, and really drive as a driver, Peter, not as a Peter driver, but as a driver, Peter.
I'm a Peter driver.
As a driver, you know, you probably would be hugely frustrated in a situation like that if you were Dominic Lee, but, you know, up here in the booth, a little bit more level heads prevail when we're not out there driving. Really, he does have every right to be on the track like he does, and of course he's streaming the race on Facebook, probably wants to put on a good show for his fans and friends and family, so friends and family. Have the producer screaming in my head because he didn't hear the S I said there, but you know, really, we love you, Carlos, but
It's okay, Cameron. We aren't like you. We have more than one friends.
Oh, well, I mean, it's true, so I'll go meet up with my one friend after we get out of the broadcast.
Oh boy, well, we have 13 laps to go, and the number 32 of Billy Wise there, he stayed out under this pit sequence. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out with him, with how important tires are. Oh, look at the 99! Johnny Berardi right in front of these two. It looks like he might have hit the gas just a little bit too soon, hit the inside wall there as he was getting waved around the leaders. But I was just about to say, Billy Wise, he is your race leader. Not quite sure how that's going to work out for him. I'm sure we're hearing that he did come down pit road. He actually took 2 tires, so he used a little bit of strategy to get up there. And Cameron, I think at this point in the race, with how cold it is, 2 tires might be enough to at least, stay up near the front with some of these guys. So we'll have to see how this one plays out once we go back to green.
Yeah, and that 32 car was running pretty solidly before the caution came out, about 5th or 6th place. So, we'll have to wait and see. But I think at this point in the race, if you're going to do it, just do it. And you've kind of made your bed, see what happens. And this is the city of gambling, so we'll have to see what happens. We are on board with the 4 of Nate Cadilla here. He's right behind that 32 car of Billy Wise. The pace car is off, and we'll see how that 32 car gets going with those 2 tires. And answer is not at all. Ooh, the 20 of David Wilson actually got really squirrely, and Billy Wise gets going pretty well here. So he is going to take over the lead by himself with 2 of Dominic Lee right behind him, and Nate Cadilla, the car you're riding with on right now, is up to 3rd.
Yeah, it looks like the number 20 just kind of jumped the gun just a little bit. He had to check up. And the number 2 of Dominic Lee got into his back bumper just a little bit. And here comes Nate Cadilla. Cadilla trying to sniff some blood here off the back of the number 2. And that number 2 does have some front end damage from that contact there on the restart with Dave Wilson. Wilson drops back to the 6th position. He's under fire for that spot. But Billy Wise holding station up front here. Definitely throwing the dice, trying to get a good finish in number 32. So far, so good, as he's able to hold on to the lead. This time by, we will have 10 laps to go, 15 miles around this track in the desert. Look, Dominic Lee, he's running a little bit lower on the straightaway. If I was Billy Wise, I'd take note of that, because I definitely... Oh, Dominic Lee! He went down there, clipped the apron. Not able to do anything is Nate Cadilla, because Cadilla was tucked up right behind him. In fact, he had to check up quite a bit. That's exactly what Billy Wise wanted to see out his rearview mirror, because that contact with the apron on that number 2 machine, we've seen him do that a couple times here tonight, definitely caused him to check up. But they're almost 3 wide right behind them. Battle for 4th. Tim Masters currently occupies the 4th position as they race off into turn number 1 and 2. Look at Dave Wilson. He's trying to make a charge back. Tanner Sharp has taken his number 3 machine to the garage, unfortunately. Definitely not the night he was looking for, as Dave Wilson's now moved back up to 4th. So Wilson here mounting a charge after that contact on that restart. And man, keep an eye out for that number 20 machine and the number 4. Both of those cars trying to get around the number 2 as, ooh, look at the 4. The 4 got really tight on entry into the corner. He's going to wash up. He had to check up just a little bit. And here comes Dave Wilson. They're side by side now for 3rd. Meanwhile, Lee has caught Billy Wise. And Billy Wise on 2 tires, as we'll have 7 laps to go. This time they're really tight coming out of turn number 4. Cameron, this is an exciting finish as Cadilla dives below the 2.
Yeah, but this is a 4-car battle for the lead, and Cadilla making the move on Lee on the very bottom of the track. Gonna wash up just a bit. Looks like he got those bumps on the apron. But here comes Dominic Lee. He bumped at 32, had nowhere to go with that run he had, and Dave Wilson right there just kind of just looking at it. And Tim Masters, that's Kevin Cochran right behind. Dominic Lee in the wall hard, so he's gonna get shuffled out of the battle. Move Nate Cadilla up to the 2nd spot. Peter, this is absolutely amazing stuff.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can call this, and I'm sure if you're...
And here comes Cadilla for the lead.
If you're in Vegas trying to bet on this one, I don't know where the odds are currently, but Billy Wise is currently out front on 2 fresh tires, but Nate Cadilla is going to drop it to the bottom through turns number 3 and 4. That 32 running really high up in the marbles. That's going to let the 4 by. Nate Cadilla takes the lead with 5 laps to go.
This is good stuff, and here comes Dave Wilson, and behind him, Tim Masters. Where did he come from? Where did all these cars come from? I don't even know where we came from, but this is good stuff. It's pretty much like a 6-7 car battle for the lead. Or at least it was a couple corners ago. It's kind of shuffled out to be 2 cars plus Tim Masters there in the back just lurking, but we have seen crazier things happen in this race. Nate Catilla doing a good job to hold off Dave Wilson. We were talking early in this race that 4 car has a lot of speed on these shorter runs, and we only have 4 laps to go. Billy Wise a little bit shuffled back. He was the leader a couple laps ago, now back to 5th. Still a good run regardless. We didn't know how those 2 tires were going to work out, but it looks like they have worked out pretty well at this stage in the race. But this battle for the lead is still not going away. Dave Wilson is going to 1, and he's actually looking on the bottom, going to juke back to the outside. So that 20 car using that momentum to see if he can make the move. No, he can't. Nate Catilla takes that line away from him, saying, no, you are not going to get around me. 3 laps to go here at Vegas. Peter, this is really good stuff at the front.
Just under 4.5 miles to go. Dave Wilson looking for that race lead, trying everything he can to get in front of the 4 Catilla, and Wilson's going to drop now down to the bottom, see if he can get a run out of turn number 4. Not quite able to do so as Catilla drops down and throws the block on that number 20 machine, as we now only have 3 miles to go, and Wilson here just trying to find a way, find anything he can to make that move. He's got a really good run here coming out of turn number 2. We'll see if he's going to jump to the high side here. Indeed he does. Oh, he's going to back up his corner a little bit, and the 4 looks like he washed up the racetrack, and the 20 is going to have a fantastic run as the white flag is up in the air. These 2 still going at it. There's no real race behind them for any position, so this is the best battle on the racetrack for the race lead. You're not missing anything out back, but Catilla, really good solid turns 1 and 2. He's only got to get through 3 and 4. We've seen him really strong here all night long, running a little bit higher line, and now Dave Wilson, doesn't look like Wilson could do anything. Wilson not able to do anything. Nate Catilla is going to bring home the W here at Las Vegas.
Wow.
What a spectacular finish.
What a finish. What a race, really. That whole race was absolutely amazing. Nate Catilla taking advantage on that final restart to get the lead and holding off one of the best in the SimPossible Racing League. What a well-deserved win for that driver right there. First win in the SimPossible Racing League.
That is absolutely awesome to see, and only led 6 laps in this one, the last 6. And man, getting that last stretch right. We've seen it a couple times here in the SimPossible Racing League, but getting that last few laps correct can mean all the difference as Nate Catilla burns them down here on the front stretch. We got some nice black smoke thanks to those shadows out there. But man, what an impressive run by Nate Catilla all night long. He was there, kind of in the top 5 for most of the race, and just found the right moves to make there with about 6 laps to go.
Absolutely. What an incredible race all around. We saw comers and goers. We saw some bump and runs, some beating and banging. You know, things you don't see at a track like this, but we saw them tonight. And Nate Catilla burning those tires down. Probably gonna stay here all night and just do burnouts, because he's got to be absolutely ecstatic that he got his first SimPossible win. And what a place to do it at Las Vegas. Doing the gambling, and he comes out with the win.
Yeah, Catilla had 9 top 5s coming into tonight's race, and he's finally going to be able to check that win column off his things to do here in the SimPossible Racing League, and only the 3rd B car race of the season. Maybe Nate likes the B car, and you know, it's definitely a different car, and it's quite fun to drive, and it drives different than the truck, so it'll be interesting to see how that progresses here throughout the season on 3-Wide TV. Well, we're gonna see if we can drag in the 3rd place finisher. That driver being Kyle Zimmer. Kyle, Peter Short here in the 3-Wide TV booth. You got a copy? Well, Kyle, you know, you had a great race here tonight, and definitely showed some speed. It was a great battle there at the end between you and Dave Wilson. Just talk us through your race and let us know how everything went, because it was spectacular from our point of view.
Yeah, it was a good race, and I made a nice comeback in the end. But the whole race from the beginning, it was fun. At the beginning, I was kind of having trouble with turn 1 and 2 in the entry of it, and couldn't get find any speed to keep up with Dave early on. But as the longer run, I tried to move up to middle to high lane and at that corner, and then found some speed, so I kind of used that groove most of the race from there, and then led some laps, and I made some hard blocking, and then made Dave contact it, and I tried to save the car, the car, and then it kind of fell there, and I had to battle back up and take home third. And it's nice to come back after kind of rut in the end there, but it was fun race overall. I mean, he had a fast car all race long. And congrats to Nate winning the race. That was awesome too.
Yeah, definitely great to see the awesome racing that you guys put on here tonight. Next week, though, we're gonna have the B Car Series race at the. Let me figure out where next week's race is. I actually don't have that on my schedule currently. But you finished 5th, 4th, and 3rd. Things definitely looking up for you in points. How important is it to get a good start to the season?
Yeah, I mean, finishing good finishes all season so far. It's been good and strong for the points. You know, it's a long 33 race season, you know, but important for the start. Yes, it's definitely important, especially in heavy clean air, because I noticed after the first lap wreck, I pitted, you know, and you quick repair there, and then with some contact in the first corner, and I got up to I think 3rd or 4th. I never really had any experience with the dirty air, but at the very end of the race, where I was the back end, I think I restarted 7th. It was really a lot different with the car handling there. Yeah, it's definitely important, especially certain tracks like Vegas or maybe Kansas like that for the long run. But I was more at the end of the race would be very important as well. But heavy finish, hopefully I could get a win or second next week since I finished 5th, 4th, and 3rd today. But it's a good start, I mean.
Yeah, incrementally making your way forward through the field. Next race will be at the Phoenix Raceway and ISM Speedway. What are your thoughts about Phoenix? Because it is a very different racetrack compared to the the tracks that we have been to this year.
Oh, I am gonna say, yeah, it's one of my favorite short track, I would say, along with Iowa and Bertha tracks. But this track is definitely gonna be a lot of heartbreaking. I'm definitely gonna probably want to save your tires in early run, possibly, and get track positions, I would say. In the past, my experience with other races I've done very well at it. But hopefully I can show some speed next week there. Definitely gonna be fun going to short track. So I'm excited for IMSA.
Absolutely, it's definitely going to be a great race. But before we let you go, do you have any shout outs for us to give? Because I'm sure there's definitely some words that you want to jump out.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to shout out to you guys. Rewind TV for broadcasting both series, and love watching you guys week in and out. And I want to shout out to my sponsor, Airborne Graphics. Cut them out, and definitely thanks to Levi and Rob Alvarez for the support as well in the and Gov, who created this series. You know, glad that this would happen. It's been a great season so far, so looking forward to the rest of the season.
Absolutely, as am I, and of course the rest of the season will be here on 3 Wide TV. And we thank you for stopping by, Kyle, and we will see you in the next race at Phoenix ISM Raceway.
Thank you.
All right, well, Cameron Rich has caught up with your second place finisher, Dave Wilson, driver of the number 20.
Dave Wilson, Cameron Rich up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
All right, man. Well, had a pretty good run tonight. Started second, led the most laps, 72 to be exact. Just couldn't get around that 4 car at the end because I'm sure he was going to make it 72.5 lanes wide. But a good run nonetheless. Take us through your race, bud.
Yeah, at the start there I got wrecked on the first lap, unfortunately, but I was able to just get all my stuff together and just try to run back to the front. I was able to do that and stayed up there for a while, and Nate made a great move at the end of the race there. I know Billy did too. He took 2 tires on that last stop, and he was holding off Nate there for a while, and Nate was able to get around him, and I tried to get around Nate for those last 5 or so laps, and I just got, and he was putting up really good blocks, and awesome job on his part.
Yeah, we saw all sorts of incredible close racing tonight, and unfortunately one of those moments involving you, you kind of spun the number 25 of Kyle Zimmer out on the front stretch. Don't think there was any contact, and if there was, it was ever so slight, but I gotta assume you were just trying to just keep those bumpers locked and probably get a little bit of draft off him, not trying to really hit him there.
Yeah, I was just trying to get around to the outside of him, but he was blocking it there quite a bit, and unfortunately we hooked up a bit, I think, and he spun around, unfortunately. He made a great save, though, there for a while, and lost it there near the end, but I'm glad he was able to get a 3rd place out of it. He definitely deserved a 1st or 2nd place, though. He was really fast tonight.
Yeah, one thing we kind of noticed up here in the booth all night was the track changed a lot. Of course, the lights would be on if they actually worked. They don't, but the track is very well dark right now. But how did the track change throughout the night as it got darker and the track temperature got cooler?
As it got cooler, it definitely got a lot better in 3 and 4. Some guys were experiencing loose, I guess it was getting a bit loose, but I think that was more so running the bottom line. The midline, though, was really tight there near the like around 10 laps into your tires. It's probably stretched out to about 15 laps on your tires where it started to get really tight. As the track got a bit colder, the tire wear wasn't as bad, which is why the 2 tires for Billy there worked quite a bit, but 4 tires is definitely the way to go, I find.
Alright, well, couldn't really ask for a better start to the season, though. You have 2 second place and a win last week at Atlanta, so pretty good start to this long campaign of the season, 33 races, and of course 3 down now, so we have 30 to go. We do know how to do math up here in the booth, but we do go to Phoenix next week, the first, I would say short track, but it's not really a short track, but shorter track on the schedule. How are you looking forward to that race?
I actually haven't really raced much at Phoenix, or at least the new ISM that they made it into, and I'm definitely looking forward to it to try it out and see how it is. It's probably not going to be the same as it was before. It might be, but it'll definitely be cool to race on it.
All right, man. Well, as always, we do thank you very much for talking to us in the booth. But before we let you go, we know you got some shout-outs for us.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys up here in the booth, as I usually do, for making this possible every race we do, for streaming it as well as commentating it every single week. It's always great to go back and watch these afterwards. I'd like to thank Jeff Schmidt, the owner of SimPossible, for making these races actually possible. And it's always a fun time every week. We all enjoy it, and we usually always have a great time. I'd also like to congratulate Nate Catilla on his win tonight. It's his first one in SimPossible racing, I believe, and it was definitely well deserved. He fought really hard all race, and he came up with a faster car.
All right. Well, thank you very much for those words, Dave. Congrats on your second place. And I think now we do have our winner up in the booth.
All right. Well, we have Jeff Schmidt and Nate Catilla joining us now. And Nate, congratulations, man. It's awesome to see you in victory lane with such a absolute, just impressive performance all race long. It sounded like you really found your groove in this race, running that higher line, and you were able to make the move right at the end when it counted. Tell us how you did it.
Yep, this is Jeff here. He's going to type that out to me, and I'm going to help him out here to read that out for you. In the meantime, me and him were talking in the chat a little bit, and he said he wants to take a shower after this thing. He's all sweaty. So he was definitely working hard out there. What an awesome and amazing run that he had.
Yeah, without a doubt, definitely. It seemed like we even said it in the broadcast. Nate Catilla had the Nate Catilla line working here tonight, running that higher groove in that number 4 machine. Definitely a workout when you run that higher groove.
Yeah, he sure made it work for him wonderfully. Man, that was a nail biter. The last couple laps there, those guys racing as close as they were. Billy having that gamble. You got to gamble at Vegas, right? And he did it with those 2 tires. It almost worked out for him, man. But unfortunately, those tires wore off. And a little bit of that longer, 12 lap run, and the other guys caught him. But man, that was a close one for Billy too. It was actually a good strategy, and I think it almost worked out for him and was worth doing. I'm still waiting on Nate's response here. He's going to be typing it soon, I'm sure. Here we go. He said, my roll film production Chevy was finding that smooth line, and my spotter was just saying to stay in that groove. So he did have a spotter tonight that sounded like he was a great help to Nate, and apparently that spotter knew where he was fastest and helped him out there.
Yeah, that's always a great element of iRacing is getting a spotter, and if you have a real life one telling you where to run, that can definitely be a big help. Well, Nate has had a good start to the season, but I would like to hear Nate's thoughts on Phoenix, because Phoenix is a very, very different track, and I want to know if we're able to keep his hot streak going. We'll just wait on Nate's response here at Vegas, but for all of you still watching the stream, don't adjust your set, because yes, it is that dark over the track currently. These drivers just getting the race in before darkness descended on the track, and I'm sure Nate Catilla is pretty glad it ended when it did, taking that checkered flag and doing some pretty good burnouts here on the front stretch. Great to see him burning them down.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're still waiting on his response here. That's fine. No rush. I know he's excited, man. This is his first win in SimPossible, and he's always been saying how he can't wait till that day. He's been looking forward to this day for a long time, and what a great way to earn it here at this track. It definitely looked tricky out there to work around these cars and to make those passes, and what a tremendous job he did. So just super proud of him, and I'm sure we'll get his response here very shortly. Yeah, again, he said he's all sweaty. He wants to take a shower, so he was putting that work in that car, no doubt about it.
And as we know about Vegas at night, that's when all the fun stuff happens. So it's gonna be a party in that four pit. Excuse me. Well deserved though.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know which casino they're all gonna go to after this race.
Hey, all right, he said last year in another league he was really slow. I'm assuming he means at Phoenix, but he said, hey, I don't know, I might get a great finish. Jesse Gray, he's given a shout out to for spotting for him is awesome, and so he can get in that groove again, hopefully, with his spotter helping him out, and he's looking forward to the race. He's not sure exactly how well he's going to perform, but he's looking forward to it and he's going to try his best.
All right, well, I know Nate probably has a few other shout-outs to give. Definitely want to let him have the opportunity to give out those shout-outs, because, you know, the nice thing about the SimPossible Racing League is there's definitely a good camaraderie between all these drivers here, and you know, you get a lot of people watching these races and enjoying them, and definitely got to give Nate that opportunity to give those shout outs. I know he's already thanked his spotter, which is awesome. You know, it's a big help to have a good spotter through these races, because we saw a lot of action here tonight, and that action can be, you know, avoided when you have a good spotter. So
yeah, absolutely. And I want to mention too, for anyone out there watching this that's on iRacing, if you're interested in trying out spotting or want to give that a go, we have some drivers that are looking for spotters. If you want to come and help out that way, just get in touch with me and I'll hook you up to help another driver out. So we got Nate's response here on that one, and he said check out his YouTube channel on his car, which is Roll Film Productions. Shout out to SimPossible Racing League, 3 Wide, and everyone else. Yeah, so go check out Roll Film Productions on YouTube. That's Nate's channel. He's got some really cool videos up in there.
awesome to hear. And so, Nate, before just one last thing before we let you go, we really want you to go and celebrate this, but we'll see you next week at Phoenix. But like we said, go down to those casinos, go celebrate, because a win in Vegas is one of the sweetest places to get the trophy.
He said ice cream time. I think he's looking forward to a bowl of ice cream. Maybe that might be his fun for tonight, but hey, that sounds good to me.
I feel that.
Man, yeah, I'd take a bowl of ice cream, man. That sounds like a good tradition that you're starting there, Nate, to get a bowl of ice cream after a win. Definitely take that one. All right. Well, Jeff, we're going to transition over to you now, talking about the league. We got trucks in action Monday night, and we got B-Kart action Wednesday night. Tell us what you have in store for us here on 3Y TV.
Sure. Yeah, Monday we go back to Las Vegas, but this time in the Truck Series, in the MS Forward Truck Series. And with that chase going on over there, unfortunately, 2 drivers are going to lose positions in the chase after that Vegas race, and we don't know who it's going to be, but unfortunately 2 drivers are going to drop off from that series to be in the chase. And tune in Monday to find that out. And then Wednesday we're going to be back in here in this car in the B Series at Phoenix. So that's interesting track, you know, having that open dog leg there. It could get a little sketchy using that apron dog leg, but it could also be very fast. So gonna see who risks it and stays down there as long as they can to gain that extra lap time, or how that's gonna play out. Phoenix is an awesome racetrack, so definitely looking forward to that one.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff, before we let you go, I'm sure you got some shout outs for us, so let us hear them.
Yeah, msforward.org. Check them out. Thank you, Daryl Kachera. 3Y TV, you guys for doing a tremendous job broadcasting week in and week out. The commentating, the camera angles, everything about it, it's fantastic. It really is. And the drivers, without the drivers, this wouldn't be nothing. And we had one of our biggest field tonight with 19 drivers, and we're slowly growing, so that's cool to see. But I want to thank their family and their friends, the fans that watch this, anyone that watches this on the YouTube. I want to thank everyone for being a part of it, because we all we see out there, and we love you all, and we appreciate all your support.
Without a doubt. Well, Jeff, we thank you for joining us here on 3Y TV for these interviews, and hopefully Nate can go get that bowl of ice cream. It might not be a bowl trophy, but definitely some ice cream in a bowl sounds really good right now. So hopefully he can take that one, as we have the results here in just a moment. we'll go through them. Nate Catilla, like we said, taking the win tonight. Dave Wilson coming home second in the number 20 machine. Kyle Zimmer finishing third. Tim Masters fourth. Dominic Lee, he had a good night going, ended up in the 5th position. Kevin Cochran, we saw him near the front early on in the race. He came home 6th. Maybe the track just kind of fell away from him there at the end. Travis Zudema in 7th. Billy Wise finished 8th with that 2-tire gamble. Fernando Matos rallied for a top 10 there at the end, finishing 9th. AJ Digby started up at the front of this one, but unfortunately didn't quite back that up and ended up in the 10th place.
Tom Johnson going to come home in the 11th spot. Alan Capers 12th. Brian Lowhead 13th. Johnny Berardi 14th. Doug McCollum had such a good run going for him. That car was in the top 5 all night. Just had some issues at the end. Chris Berge, not the run he's going to want either. Tanner Sharp. This race was pretty much ended in turn 2 of lap 1. So tough break for him. He'll be looking to bounce back next week at Phoenix. Matthew Lesniewski coming home in 18th, and Daniel Hosser actually did not feel well, so he parked it early for the night. But if you did not get enough Vegas tonight, we do have more Vegas next Monday for the trucks. And of course, next Wednesday we will be at Phoenix for this big car. But wow, that was one of the best races I've seen, Peter, in a long time for any league, any series, any broadcast. Absolutely incredible. And we saw everything, a lot of side-by-side racing for the lead, contact, some tempers, I think, after the race, but not much more you can say about that. Just an absolute incredible race all around.
Yeah, and these drivers not only ended up racing to the checkered flag, they ended up racing the sunset here, as we are pretty much in complete darkness here around the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The only thing you can see is the lights of the rough RT12 face car still on. But my oh my, that, like you said, Cameron, that was an absolute spectacular race. And I can't wait to get back here at Vegas next Monday night on 3Wide TV. But we want to give a shout out to Sim TV for giving us these awesome camera shots. Got to see the Digger Cam in action tonight, which was pretty cool. So thank you to SimTV for that, and thanks to Carlos Acosta for manning the cameras each and every week, putting on a show for us here to commentate. And Cameron, man, can't wait to get back in action next week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always awesome to see what these SimPossible drivers can put out for a race, and I'm sure if you gave them all shopping carts in the Walmart parking lot, they would put on a good race. I think I said that last week. So. Yeah, what a race, and but I believe that is all we have for you tonight. So from myself, Peter Short, and Carlos Acosta on the cameras, we wish you all a good night.